You're now listening to episode 90 of Signed In, a PS3 podcast, recorded on March 31st, 2012. Find us online at signedinpodcast.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to Signed In. I am Jeremy Superfro33.
I'm Craig Prof Dresser.
And that's it.
Crickets.
Do you have cricket sounds? Welcome everybody back to Signed In, I should say, but it is a new direction for Signed In, and we know that this is going to be a little iffy. We haven't been talking about it too much online.
Microsoft sent us a cease and desist.
They did not. They did not, Craig. Don't start those rumors. But we are making a new direction and a new change with Signed In. You'll notice that it's just the two of us at this point. Sean, Shawnix, as everyone has known for the last 80-some episodes.
The dearly beloved Shawnix.
He's still living. But unfortunately, he is not with us on the show.
Right.
And we appreciate all the time that Sean's given to the show and being able to do the show. Unfortunately, he has expressed not having as much time as he'd like to be able to do the show on a regular basis. And we jokingly stated a couple episodes ago that we were going to kick him off and do a PS3 podcast.
Right.
So in hindsight, that's what we're doing, but without kicking him off. So unfortunately, we will be a man down at this point. So it'll kind of be a little old school for us, but we're going to change direction a little bit and start talking some PS3.
Yeah. Sean seemed kind of disappointed with his severance package.
With the lack of?
Yeah.
The lack of any severance package. So here's the thing. We know it's going to change a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's different audiences for the different setups or
Think
the
of it
different
like
consoles.
like the origin here.
That's right.
This is what it was like in the beginning, folks.
So we are restarting, and hopefully we'll have some folks that carry along with us. Maybe we'll pick up some new people.
I couldn't convince Jeremy to renumber.
I am not renumbering. We're continuing on. Although name change, we don't know.
Yeah,
we'll
possible. See. Definitely possible.
Well, regardless, everybody, welcome home.
Yeah,
to the new Signed In. So I guess that being said, let's move forward with what do we have this episode to talk about, our inaugural kickoff episode.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of PS3 games, like disc games, but I do have some downloadable titles.
Yes, and there's a lot of awesome stuff.
Yeah, some very nice new ones came out from that game company, Journey, and I've just been tearing through Flower and Flow, their previous games as well. And then also Closure, the brand new game.
Yes, brand new.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk about both of those as well. Actually, I'm just excited to be able to talk about some PS3 games for once.
I could talk about Wipeout HD, I guess, if you want.
Yes, you could do that.
Shadow of the Colossus.
I'm going to take the opportunity.
These really old games.
Well, I do have the HD
just
collection.
Like the old show.
The HD collection just came out recently, so we can talk about that.
Oh, yeah, excellent.
So that's good.
Cool.
Uncharted 3, I also played a couple months ago and was not able to mention on the other show, so I now have a forum that we can do that. So we'll talk about that here.
You can now profess your undying love for the PS3.
That's correct. I can't really do this anymore, can you?
Fuck this. Let's go.
All right, let's just, get out of here. Hey everybody, welcome back to Signed In for Real. Fuck that noise. I'm Jeremy Superfro33 still.
I'm Craig Prof Dresser still. That's not actually part of my tag. Don't look
Mine
for
either.
Prof Dresser still.
And now for the real bad news. Good news, we are remaining an Xbox podcast. We're not doing that PS3. Come
Collective
on.
sigh.
Seriously. Nobody fell for that, did you? It was April Fool's. We have the opportunity. You gotta go for it, right?
Yes.
So the bad news is Sean really isn't here.
That's right. Yeah, he's unfortunately really tied up in work right now.
But we hope that he's not walking out on the show. He might after that opening. Now I don't know.
Sean loves a good joke. Come on.
Well, but at his expense, probably. So anyway, hopefully Sean will be back with us next time we record, and maybe he won't be back because I'm going to point out that this would have been his 3-year anniversary.
Oh,
so thanks, Sean.
So you have to rub it in like that.
Oh, that's
I'm glad that 3 years has not made you less of a dick.
That means we haven't been by ourselves on an episode since episode 13.
That's right.
13.
This is against the court orders where we need a chaperone.
Somebody's got to watch us. So anyway, what was that 77 episodes or something that we've been going strong?
Yeah.
So there we go. It's like when we have those work calendars, there's so many days without an accident. Sean has basically made us flip that back to zero.
Sean is our OSHA.
Yeah, he made us go back to zero. So thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Anyway, so I'm back from vacation.
Yes.
And I survived that. And the guy in Belgium didn't hook me up, so thanks, buddy. It was an interesting, stressful, fun time.
He hid, in fact.
He did. He probably went into hiding. I had a blast. It was a little tiring, though. We were there for a week, it was a culture shock. A lot
between the countries, right?
We went down to Paris. We went up to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I walked the red light district. Before we get into our games, can I tell you one thing about my red light district experience?
Of course.
Because nothing sums up me and my wife more perfect than this story, all right? So we're walking through the red light district. By the way, I've never done any drugs in my entire life. I've never drank alcohol in my entire life, which I think I've mentioned before.
Except for the accidental one.
Except for the accidental one. But I can happily report that Belgium is able to do a non-alcoholic mojito. So I got that covered.
Excellent.
In Belgium, so we were good.
You got your little checklist.
They were able to do that.
Returning here.
So we're walking down the red light district, and there's canals all over in Amsterdam. So we're walking down one of the canals, and we're looking in the water. We're walking through the red light district, of course. We just entered into it. And there's all these swans and ducks. And so we're like, oh, look at the swans and ducks. And the swans were sleeping, and they got their little head resting between their feathers, their wings, and it's all cute, and I'm taking pictures. And then my wife's like, oh, a naked lady. Like behind us, like literally. So I turn around, I'm like, oh, yeah. Well, she wasn't naked. I mean, she had suspenders on.
Suspenders, okay. Holding what up?
Well, she had like a pant of some sort. I didn't stare. Uncomfortable in those scenarios. So she had some sort of pants, but she wasn't topless. She had suspenders on. So that was her sole top outfit.
Got it.
So I'm like, oh yeah, there are. Look at those ducks. They're so cute. So that is us to a T in the red light district.
Excellent.
So there you go.
Perfect.
Enjoy that. But anyway, I am back. I haven't played too many
swans
games.
And ducks in the red light district. Go there for the red swans and ducks.
You do. That's what everybody does. That's what all the guidebooks say. All the good ones.
Right.
But I played not very much. Most of my time apart has been on traveling and recouping from that travel and getting over my jet lag.
Yeah.
So I have a couple things. I finished up some Mass Effect 3. I took a look at a couple of the things on XBLA, but I'm still in my self-imposed.
That's right. I took a look at a lot of stuff on XBLA, except the stuff this week. I'm just not a fan of South Park, so I didn't play that one.
Yeah, and that just came out yesterday, I think, right? It was just...
Was it just
yesterday?
it
was just Friday. I think it was a Friday release for some reason. I don't know why. But I'm on my self-imposed moratorium on playing any new XBLA games because I don't finish any of them. So I played some new demos, but I'm not allowing myself to buy them because
so you do play the demos. I see.
I check them out and then I want them, and then I don't let myself buy them because I'm an idiot. But I got a couple indie games I looked at too, and I also checked out Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City.
Nice.
No, not so much, but we'll talk about that later.
Ranger Rick.
Operation. What the fuck is this? That's my new name for it. But what about you, Craig? What do you got?
I got a ton of XBLA. I got a couple indie games here as well, but yeah, I played most of the XBLA that's come out in the 3 weeks since we last recorded.
That's true. It has been an extra week.
And so then DLC wise, I finally got around to playing Gunstringer's Real Big Shootin', which came out ages ago. That came out shortly after the first DLC. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Like a month or two afterwards. But because I noticed they just released another new DLC, El Diablo's American Adventure, and so
which looked crazy.
Yeah,
is it crazy?
It is.
Awesome.
It's very different, and that's one of the things that we'll talk about is how different all the DLC is for
That's
Gunstringer.
Great.
Disc-wise, I finished up Ashura's Wrath, and I finished the hell out of that. 1,000 pointed that.
Oh my god!
6 playthroughs. Yeah.
Holy shit!
And and so I've got my final thoughts on that. At least until I get around to playing the new episode that just came out this past week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because they got tons of DLC coming for that.
They
too.
do, and I'm very excited about that. But I currently have loaned Ashura's Wrath to Sean, so I will not be able to play the episode for a little while. But
Sean, what do you think of it?
Perfectly fine. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
And then, because I'm always timely and topical, I started playing Sean's copy of Bulletstorm recently.
Nice.
Most of the way through first playthrough on that. So yeah, I got quite a bit of thoughts.
You didn't get your dick shot off, did you?
No, because I turned off the explicit language.
Why would you even do that?
Because I wanted to see how funny it was without the explicit language.
Is it funny?
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Okay. I don't know.
It's funny in the way that, you can tell that that's where the explicit language would go.
Right.
Much like watching a
do they
movie
sub
on
other
TNT.
words in?
Yeah. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes they fade it out and fade it back in. And
well, that's even lazier.
Yeah, which doesn't work at all because you can totally tell what it is. And they left a shit in there once, so I'm like, that's interesting.
Well,
because I'm pretty sure they changed the shit to poop later.
Oh, okay. Compared to the other words that they have in there, that's probably not considered to be explicit. Because everything else is just a dick's preference.
I played a little bit at the beginning with it on, and I'm like, all right, we're going to turn this off. I saw it was a feature. So right. I'm like, okay.
That's funny because the explicit language is a feature of the game. In my opinion, one of the only features of the game.
No.
I'm harsh.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
All right. Well, anyway, let's move on. And real quick, I wanted to mention at the top of the show one of the dashboard updates that we had. It wasn't a dashboard update, but an application update, and that was the HBO Go application, and that is awesome. And that's all I got to say, because you don't have HBO.
No, I don't.
I do. And so HBO Go was available to me on my PC. But seriously, I got a 55-inch TV. Why don't I watch something on like a 10-inch computer monitor?
Well, a lot of people connect their computers to their
Well, those people are weird. So having it on the Xbox is awesome. I tested it out. It works great. And Excellent. If you have a cable provider, if you have HBO and you have a cable provider who is allowing you to use it, I highly recommend checking it out because it's awesome.
Excellent.
And Game of Thrones starts tomorrow.
Yay.
Yeah, yay. You don't even know.
I don't.
I know. I should hook you up with those. All right. Anyway, so let's start talking about some video games. How about some indie?
Let's do it. So we got my first thing up is Super Ninja Warrior Extreme. How's that for a title?
Super Ninja Warrior Extreme.
We need to extend our create your own indie game name to 4 of them instead of just 2. This sells for 80 Microsoft points from Ho Hum Games, and it is anything but ho hum. So it's a retro style sort of action adventure slashing survival game. It's kind of like a mixture of a platformer hack and slash, but mixed almost with like a Super Meat Boy style survive
don't
die sort of situation where you're this ninja guy and you're trying to get through these fairly short levels, at least at the beginning, but you have to jump over like saw blades and dodge traps, and then there are also enemies who will attack once they see you, and so you kind of have to time your attacks. You can sneak up behind them and slash them, and then there's a boss at the end that you have to slash twice in order to finish.
Gotcha.
And then moves you on to the next one. And so it goes really quickly. It's a lot of fun. The design is, like I said, retro, and it's done really well. So yeah, I mean, if you like those sort of challenge platformer games, I definitely recommend checking this one out.
Cool. And did you say how much it was?
80 points.
80 points.
Yeah.
All right.
On the cheap.
I also checked out on the cheap Bytown Lumberjack, which I don't understand the Bytown, because I thought it was the company name, but it's in the title name, so I don't know if it's both. So I don't know if the company's Bytown and the game is just Lumberjack, but the title on Xbox...
You can find that on the marketplace.
Well, on the marketplace, it gives the actual individual names
of the people.
Okay. But then, so I don't really understand. But regardless, you find it on your Xbox by Bytown.
There you go.
Lumberjack.
Yeah.
And it is 80 points as well. It is a side-scrolling hack and slash game. It is extremely violent. Yes. There's not a lot to it as far as...
Is it just a pissed-off lumberjack?
He is. Well, a big, deer or elk or something took a dump on his front lawn and then also stole his firewood.
Oh, is that all?
Well, they're kind of demonic animals, too. I don't know what's going on with them.
You didn't mention that.
They don't mention it.
Was that a natural assumption?
They don't mention it. It might be. Maybe it's my own justification in my deranged head.
Right.
I'm like, well, he took my firewood, and he also kind of looked at me funny. So maybe he's a demon.
I was thinking of that bird shooter game or whatever, where the birds came in and shot your paw, and then you went out hunting birds. I was wondering if it was something similar to that.
No, he just took a dump and stole your firewood. But they look kind of demonic, and I don't know if that's maybe just because you're running at them with an axe. Maybe they're reacting to that, too. But regardless...
I don't know. Let's go test it out. I think we got some animals outside.
It's very it reminded me a lot of Golden Axe. Arcade style. So in the arcade format, where you're just side-scrolling hack and slash, and you do have a basic attack, which is like kind of a sweeping motion of your axe, but then you have an overhead that you can also use. And I think that's a little more powerful of attack, but it's a little slower.
Right.
So that's basically all that you're doing. There's some obstacles of wood you have to cut through, which I don't know who constructed those.
Is it auto-scrolling, or does it move along with the character?
It moves along with the character. Okay. So no, it's not auto.
Okay.
And you'll have raccoons and wolves, and then there's other dudes that start attacking you. So like these bum guys, I don't know.
Woods dudes.
Some of them are throwing rocks. Some of them have other weapons. So there's really not much else to the game. I think you get some other weapons as the game goes on. I think there's some chainsaw action involved. There is lots of blood.
Yes.
When you cut,
I saw this from the gallery. I did look at the game.
When you destroy all the animals, there's blood everywhere on the ground, and you cut their heads off. And but it is very similar to that 16-bit look of like Golden Axe and those kind of games. So I really like
the art style from the gallery.
Totally. And the music is fun as well. So I recommend checking it out. It's 80 points. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's
you did actually.
It's funny. So just give it a look and check it out.
It's got a nice tongue in cheek to it.
It does.
Lastly, for me, Retro Arcade Adventure, also 80 points from Cyactro.
I checked that out as well.
Yes. So as the title insinuates, it's a retro style game.
It is.
It's an action adventure. So it's basically there's this kingdom with this awesome king and a wizard, and then a demon comes out and he starts to attack everybody, and then
doesn't it as it goes
and then they find a hero who can pull the sword out of the stone, and it's just this regular dude, and the king and the wizard offer to go help him. And so then you're off on your adventure. And so basically it's a single room hack and slash door to deal. We got a lot of hack and slash going on
it's
today.
a little bit.
A lot of swords flinging. So you got one.
We'll be crossing swords later.
That's right. Don't cross the streams, though. We got one room, and
now Sean has never been gladder that he's not here.
And so you have enemies continually coming in from all sides.
Yes.
Starting off slowly and then becoming more massive as it goes on. And so your job is to run around and beat them up as much as possible without them touching you. But then the wizard helps you out through these magic orbs that sometimes the monsters drop when you defeat them, which give you all sorts of awesome abilities, like a giant sword or like a meteor crashing down.
I like the meteor. That was funny.
There was one where you turned into a dragon, and then you would just breathe fire.
I saw that was in like a mention or a description.
I think it's only in the arcade mode.
Okay.
Because there's two modes. There's adventure and arcade. Adventure is kind of the story, and you'll progress through these different areas, and it progresses like that.
And I should say the room that you're in, you have a certain number of enemies you have to kill to clear that room.
And it's got a counter at the top to let you know how many there are. And then later on, you gain the aid of the king. Where you can press the X button and you basically become invincible and gigantic for a short time, and it's totally sweet.
He's got a huge sword.
Yeah, they all bounce off of him.
I like some of those other power-ups they had too, like the storm of swords that they sent down. Or whatever. Yeah. It was like raining. Is that what it was? It looked like they were swords that were like falling down. And it's like a little square area that it takes up, so anybody that walks into it dies instantly. And then there's the one that's like all the other little soldier guys.
Yeah, the reinforcements.
Yeah, and then they're surrounding you, and so they take out everybody.
It's a lot of fun. It's quite addictive.
And I interrupted you. You were talking about the arcade mode.
So there's two modes: the adventure and the arcade. In the arcade, basically, there's like this factory off in the water. It's not on the map originally in the adventure, but you have to kind of go in there and clear out all the monsters. And so there's like, I think, 10 rooms, whatever, and you have to clear out all the 10 rooms. And I'm gonna guess it gets progressively harder. My time ran out as I was working through that, defeating 200 little slime things. But that was equally fun. It's just a slight variation on the way that it works. But
cool,
because you can choose. In adventure, your path is basically set, but in arcade, you can kind of choose which rooms you go to first, and then bounce around from there.
I like the music too.
That was very nice.
Retro.
I love that opening animation and all that, and the music behind that.
I did have a problem. Some of the sound effects, like I think lightning one in particular, where it like the bomb where it blows everybody up on the screen.
Oh yeah,
that one was super loud, like almost too loud. So I don't know what it sounded really odd.
I don't remember.
Thing. It happened and it was just really loud. And I think it's probably supposed to be, but it was almost like to the crackling point of like, it's blowing out on one end.
I did have one glitch where when I was first trying to get into arcade, I selected the arcade style because there's actually 3 different arcade rooms as well, which all have their individual rooms. But I chose that, and then it wasn't doing anything. And so I'm like, oh, did the Xbox freeze up? And I brought up, the little home button thing menu, and that was still there. And so it wasn't.
I had that same thing.
It wasn't frozen up. So then I vanished it out, and I was just punching buttons. And then all of a sudden, I went to like in the middle of the adventure, like
really?
on a level. I'm like, okay. And then I just quit out of that, and I started up at the arcade, and it worked fine.
Okay, I had that same thing because when I tried to go in there, and it went to a black screen, I just had to go back to my dashboard because I didn't know what was going on.
I didn't have a black screen. It was still like the screen. It was just like it wasn't doing anything.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't going forward, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? And then it just jumped me into the middle of a game, and then I quit out of that game, and I went back, and it was fine. So
weird. Anyway.
So yeah, I don't know what that was all about, but it was quite an addictive game and
yes.
very, very nice. I liked it.
Is that it for Indy?
Yeah, that's it for me.
All right, let's move on to XBLA.
XBLA, Shoot Many Robots
Yes.
came out from Demiurge and Ubisoft for 800 Microsoft points. Got local multiplayer and online co-op, which seems like a weird combination. I don't understand.
Yeah, what do you mean? With the online co-op?
Well, it's got local multiplayer, but online co-op.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe they're just terming local multiplayer as
Maybe.
also co-op.
I don't know.
So they might have meant local co-op.
Maybe.
I'm trying to. Why am I defending him? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
So it's not quite a twin stick shooter. It's a Contra style shooter. Although they're releasing a patch apparently that will allow you to change the control settings to
that would be good
sticks,
because I'll tell you what. I really kind of like what the game's doing.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, I'm
just terrible at Contra.
Yeah,
essentially.
I've heard from a couple different things that it doesn't really do anything different, and it seems like that when I'm playing it, that it's going to be like you're shooting, it's a side-scrolling shooter, and you're going to be doing that same thing over and over and over until the end of the game.
Yeah,
which is shooting many robots.
Right.
I like it. I like the art style.
Yeah,
because it's very Borderlands.
Yeah,
but I don't have a problem with that.
No,
like it looks good.
Not at all. Yeah,
and it looks kind of like it's supposed to be a little tongue in cheek and funny.
Oh yeah,
because you're in a Winnebago, you're in your like trailer, and that's where you get like all your new upgrades, which are like different outfits and weapons and things like that. You're drinking alcohol, like beer or whatever it was, to like heal back up your life.
It's a good old boy game.
But the problem for me when I was playing it was the controls. Like the controls were holding me back because I hate that style where and I don't know why it doesn't bother me in Contra so much.
Both movement and aiming.
Yeah, there was just something weird about like I hate having to stop movement to shoot.
I had that same problem with Hardcore Uprising. I mean, that was really the thing that.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't have a problem with it in there.
Huh.
But I did for this one.
What's your problem, man?
I don't know. Maybe it's the way that the robots came from both sides and they were coming faster than I normally would have in Contra. I don't know.
Yeah. One thing I liked, though, was that there's a lot of variation, it seemed, at least in the demo, for level styles because, you have your regular progress through the level sort of deal. And then there are also basically the little challenge rooms but the challenge room was rather large. It wasn't like a tiny little area. Like I thought I was going through a level until I couldn't go forward anymore. I'm like, what? Oh, I guess I could have just been going back and using this stuff to defend myself too. Totally didn't realize it. But
I think it would be a lot of fun in a co-op scenario.
Definitely.
So like if I had multiple people that had the game.
Right.
And I don't know if I even have anybody on my friends list that has it. So if I had multiple people, then maybe I would, if I also wasn't in my own restriction of not buying anything new. But I love the look of it. I love the play style, and I think that it would be fun to go through. I like some of the enemy, the way that they are. What word I'm looking for? I don't know either. I just lost my train of thought.
Good job.
But design, I think, is what I was looking for. The enemy design.
Yeah.
I like some of the design of the enemy robots, like some of the larger ones. So I thought it was fun, but I don't know. It just seems like it would be repetitive by yourself.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
the co-op is the big key.
I think the co-op is the big key as well. Yeah. And quite difficult sometimes if you're by yourself. It got pretty hairy in some of those levels.
Some of them, when they start coming out from a bunch of different areas, coming from the left and the right, and like at the same time, and so you need somebody to like watch the other side.
Yeah, pretty.
And also, like, I like being able to punch back like rockets.
The red bullets. Yeah,
whatever. Those bigger bullets, and you could punch them back to the enemies, which was funny.
I thought that was pretty cool.
I like that stuff. So, I will check it out. If anybody out there has picked it up, let me know, and maybe we can. I'll break my moratorium.
Can you play the demo that way?
Co-op? I don't think so.
that's
Probably
a
not.
Shame.
Jerks.
That's a shame.
I think I ruin everything. The only other XBLA that I checked out was Cine Amora from Grasshopper. It is 1,200 points. And this one almost made me break my hold because I love Grasshopper and everything that they do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, No More Heroes, Shadows of the Damned.
Yeah.
This is very not in that vein.
No.
But, you know, they do have, reminiscent of Shadows of the Damned, they do have the guy doing the music. I can't remember his name. The Silent Hill guy doing all the soundtrack, too. And I love the soundtrack in the game. It is a 2D side-scrolling shooter.
Shoot 'em up.
Bullet hell, shoot 'em up, whatever you want to code it as.
Yep.
It feels like Gatling gears in the sky to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's got that same sort of aesthetic.
It looks fucking phenomenal.
It does.
Like, I love how it looks.
It does. I love when you get to bosses and mini bosses, and it does that sweep around, and then the freeze camera, and it titles them.
And there's just exactly. And or when you're shooting or when you're fighting a boss and it changes, so like your perspective will change, and so it's 2D, but it achieves so much as far as like, oh, now the boss flips this over and the screen flips, and now you're on the other side and you're shooting this other side of it. Right. I just think they're really smart in the way that they handle.
Would it be considered that 2.5D? Like,
yeah, probably.
Like Shadow Complex? Because you do have enemies kind of entering from the middle of the screen, essentially. Foreground
and background, and they're moving. Yeah, probably.
You can't maneuver, and you can't shoot back there. But
things are coming back.
Yeah.
Or coming from that ground.
Yeah.
It just looks amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. And so there's all these other characteristics. And it's funny that we just talked about, I think it was the last episode or the episode before, I was saying, hey, you don't get any bullet hell games where they stop time or you slow down time. And then that's like one of the mechanics of this game because it's all time driven.
Oh, when you talk about Redshift.
Yeah, exactly. Redshift, when we were talking about it on the indie game market. And I'm like, I don't see any bullet hell games with slowdown time. Yeah. And that's what this is. Because the entire time mechanic in this game is your life. Right. So you are running on a time limit. When you take damage, you lose time. When you kill enemies, you gain time.
Right.
So when that time runs out, you're dead and have to restart or continue from there.
I really liked that aspect of it. It reminded me a little bit of Zeit Squared, if you remember that side-scrolling shooter from a while back. I think that was an Ubisoft game.
I think I remember. Did you talk about it? It was
kind of neon-y, and like you could do all these time tricks where you could make an echo of yourself or whatever. But that's not what reminded me. What reminded me was they had a different sort of life system as well. Instead of just however many hits you can take, you did have a shield and all that, but it was connected to your gunfire. And so if you overshot, because they were encouraging not to just spam down the button and shoot all the time. But I like those sort of alternative health styles, especially in a bullet hell game, because I'm very bad at them.
Yeah, and
I like them, but I'm terrible.
And I like the idea that you can take more hits if you're killing more things.
Right, exactly.
So it's like you're not just limited to one or two hits, and if a couple things get you.
Yeah, if you do get hit, then you do lose time. Right. And you also lose your gun upgrades.
Like, your power-ups all shoot out of you as well.
Not lose them, they kind of fall out, and you have a chance to grab them again.
And get hit by more things.
Exactly.
Which is what happens, because I panic. Oh, I'll go get that red ball. And then I get hit by a bunch of other things, because I'm stupid. But yeah, there's power-ups for your weapons. There's power-ups for, there's like a massive or a bigger attack, a secondary attack that you have. That powers up. I think there's a bunch of different combinations that can occur.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things they talked about, wasn't there? Like a ton of different variations of
combos?
Well,
with the pilots and their secondary weapons and all of that stuff. Yeah, I can't remember what they titled it, but
I gotta tell you, the story wasn't. I was kind of lost on what was going on.
From what I've read from other sources and reviews, the story's kind of convoluted.
Okay, good, because I was like, what the fuck?
I don't know.
It was like there's a bunch of text. Everything's in Japanese.
It's not in Japanese. That's Hungarian.
It's in Hungarian. I'm racist. I wasn't listening. I just read it and skipped it. Was it in Hungarian, really?
Yeah. Digital Reality.
Look at me.
Digital Reality is a Hungarian company.
Look, if it's not English, it's Japanese.
Then it's all just blah 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 to you.
They all sound like the people from Peanuts. Wah, 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 wah. Anyway, but I didn't know what was going on.
I was surprised by the Star Foxian anthropomorphic pilots.
Totally, right?
Yeah.
That's what I was too, because you have this voiceover going.
Especially because in the beginning you don't see the pilots.
I know, you have this voiceover of this, obviously in Hungarian, and I'm reading this story, and they don't really show you the people. I kind of thought it was going to be these disembodied, like, ships that you're flying around. And then they start showing the people that are talking, and they're like animals. And I'm like, what? Where did that come from? Yeah. It was just weird.
Yeah. Like I said, from what I've read, it doesn't really clear up a lot of other things. But, Story isn't in a game like this. Gameplay generally precedes story, and the gameplay is quite tight,
right? And it's awesome. Yeah. I think my big problem with the story was that sometimes I didn't. While I was reading it in English, I didn't really understand anything that was like they weren't sensical statements.
Really?
Like it was kind of nonsense that I was reading. I don't know. It's like it seemed oddly phrased. A lot of the stuff.
I think it was just assuming a lot of things from the.
Maybe
I read one review where it said it felt like you were kind of coming into a sequel for something, and I agree. Yeah, exactly.
And maybe that's on purpose.
Yeah, no, it could be.
Jerks.
And I don't even know if those are those demo levels are in sequence to each other in the regular game.
That's true.
I don't. Sometimes they just grab random elements, but. Very cool. It's also got an arcade mode.
Yes, it does.
Did you try that out?
I did not.
It is hard.
I imagine that's where the challenge would be.
You could only play insane on the demo for that. And so you'd shoot an enemy, and when you shot an enemy, they exploded with like these little things coming out of them. So I died a lot. You get 3 credits to try and go as far as you can. 3 continues, basically. I didn't make it past the first level.
Yeah, I imagine that's where the difficulty comes in, right? Like, because that's where leaderboards and things like that. So trying to be better now.
But it seemed pretty cool. I also liked that in the middle of levels you could choose to do different things. Because in the demo in that very first level, there's a point where it's like you get to choose whether you go through the novice path or the advanced path.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Did you do both?
I just did the novice.
I did the novice first. Then later I did the advanced path, and it was more difficult. It wasn't like impossible. It wasn't like being hit by a barrage of bullets.
Yeah.
It was actually more you had to navigate through this narrow tunnel, and so you had to use your little time pod to slow down time in order to go vertically. And
I didn't like that part.
Oh, really?
There was because even on the novice, there's where you have to go through those tunnels.
Yeah.
And if you hit the walls, you take damage or whatever.
Well, you blow up.
You lose time, I guess. Exactly.
Well, if you hit the wall too hard, then you just die.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's not just
at
running
least
out
in
of
the
time?
advanced one. Yeah. Well, because it's going to push you out of the.
Oh, gotcha. Because you got locked out.
Yeah.
And so I didn't like that. I had a problem while I love the look of it and the art style. I had a problem with seeing some of the walls as far as the difference of the wall and the background that I'm supposed to be flying in. So I was just having a perception problem.
Yeah. Maybe you need to adjust some settings.
Maybe.
Or something. That might help out.
But maybe my settings are set to Japanese.
It must be.
Maybe so I'm not
now,
racist.
Grasshopper is a Japanese developer.
I'm not racist after all.
Yeah, just keep telling yourself that.
I always do, Craig. That's how I get through my day. I love it.
I really enjoyed the game.
But my problem is I still haven't finished Gatling Gears. I know. Your grunt of disapproval echoes 1,000 times in my head. Don't worry. I don't need it. I understand it. So that's my problem is I can't sit down and go, oh, I'm going to buy this. And then, no, I'm not going to finish it.
Yeah.
So I need to push through my other games and then get to it. But it's one I want to come back to.
I would have picked it up if I had the money.
It's one I want to come back to.
Yeah,
because it's awesome.
Another arcade game I checked out was Defenders of Dania. Sells for 1,200 Microsoft points. This has both online, multiplayer, and co-op. And this is from Most Wanted Entertainment, Deep Silver, and Paradox Interactive. And so this is variation on tower defense style game.
Okay.
And basically, it's kind of tower defense. It reminded me, this is going to be a weird comparison. I'm going to have to explain a lot. It reminded me a little bit of Rock of Ages. Because you remember how in Rock of Ages, basically, you were fighting with somebody else. And so you would have to set up your defenses to slow down their rocks. And then
while trying to advance.
While trying to hit their door with your rock. And they're setting up defenses to try and stop you.
Right.
That's kind of a similar sort of setup here, where it's a tower defense game. It's an over-the-top tower defense. And so, you have the 2 castles. And your enemy and you have certain places where you can build towers, and so you can construct the towers, and then they'll also be sending out waves, trying to get past your towers and essentially destroy your castle. And you also are trying to send out waves of dudes. It's a spectacular looking game. It's got some great voice work going on in it as well. Fantastic. It's just I hit my normal wall for tower defense games where you spend 40 minutes playing one level and then something goes wrong at the very end. There's one level and
then you want to throw your controller through the wall.
I had progressed like through 3 levels, and then I got to this one level which was ostensibly our goal, but it's the kickoff for a bigger story coming on. But and so then I defeat the castle. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm kicking ass now. And then there's this text from the bad dude that I was there to go vanquish, and then I'm like, sweet, and then it keeps going, and I'm like, huh. Why isn't this level ending? And then because it's a long map, and so I had to scroll down to look down at the other castle, and there's the fucking dude walking himself like through there, and I'm like, well, fucking shit, because I could have tore down some towers, built some new ones to be damaging him, and so I was trying to pummel him as much as possible
at the last
as
second.
I could at the last, but then he walked in and instant death to my castle.
Cool.
And I'm like, fantastic, not doing that again. It's my own personal foible with these games.
No, but I understand.
Yeah, but as a tower defense game, it's actually quite fun. You get to set up different types of attack towers, and then you can also set up walls to kind of funnel off your own characters or enemy guys to kind of slow them down or walk them past more towers or whatever. You can only set up so many towers though, so you have to strategize a lot. Now the actual attacking portion of it, that part didn't. I'm still trying to figure that part out, because basically you have a bunch of different troops. You can send out like 3 infantry guys who move fairly quickly, but they have low armor and they don't really do a lot of damage, but it's like a cluster of 3. And then you can also send out like a knight who's better armored, but he moves hella slow. And there's like healers that you can send out, but they're fucking slow. And so you have to like send them out way in advance, and then send other people and hope that they intercept each other right as they're going past this difficult tower area. At least that was the best I could figure out. And you can unlock you're basically going around recruiting other people. Like we helped out a bunch of dwarves in this one level, and so then I could unlock like a bunch of dwarven warriors as well.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet. I liked that. But figuring out how to throw the waves through there and actually get people past the turrets, or past the towers, and actually do some damage. It basically, I got to this point where I was just doing the exact same thing every time. I'd send out 3 little pods of the 3 dudes, wait like 5 seconds, send out 3 more, and enough of them would survive that it would slowly chip the castle down. But
did you ever do any of the multiplayer Toy Soldiers? Because it's kind of, because on that you had to do the same thing where you were then controlling waves as well as setting up like the tower defense part.
Yeah.
So it almost seems a little like that too.
Yeah, it is.
Because that's a lot to manage, and it becomes the same thing where you just get in a pattern.
Right.
And that's my problem with a lot of those kind of games where I love the tower defense idea, but I just find myself doing the same thing. And when I get into the 7th level and I'm like, I'm just going to set this up with this here and this here and this here. And...
Now, supposedly you're supposed to be able to send your troops to actually attack towers. And
like instead of just trying to get through.
Right. And it may just be that they're only kind of whacking it as they run past to go to the castle or something. But, I could not get that to work.
They're just like mooning them and then running away.
They're throwing a tomato on the wall. TPing it, actually. But I couldn't get that to do anything, because there were levels where I was like, I wanted to vary this up, but I can't get past this one area of towers. And so if I could defeat this tower, that would be awesome. But
so it also wasn't letting you wanted to be more inventive than it was allowing you.
Yeah, really. Absolutely. But there are also like these vantage points, which are like super awesome vantage points, and if you can take that and set up a tower there, it's also a little bit of a land grab game, because you have to spread out towers, and then that incorporates more land to where you can spread out towers as well. But these vantage point ones, whatever you construct there has like a wider range, and can basically hit most of the a good portion of the board, and it was pretty sweet. I liked it a lot. It's just my typical tower defense stuff kicked in.
Yeah,
but I definitely recommend it.
It's such a deflate. Like, there's so many games where you can play, and if you get frustrated or stuck or something that happens, you have to redo some things. It's not a drastic situation. Right. In those kind of games where you put so much time in, and it's all about the setup, and if you've set up incorrectly or missed one little piece, and then it all falls apart in 30 seconds, that's such a deflating feeling. Like, you just don't want to go back to it.
Now, Toy Soldiers overcame that because it was a far more active sport.
Involved.
Yeah. I mean, you could get in there, and so then it felt more like, well, I just fucked up there.
I guess maybe with them, so was there any kind of cue to let you know that guy had gotten through? Because that's the other thing I was wondering.
I mean, because you could see him, but the problem was I was scrolled up at my castle.
So there was no audio
because I was
cue?
watching the last dudes. You talk to the dude, and then he's sounding pissed off, and I'm like, okay, so what's going on now? And I don't know. Maybe
but,
maybe thinking, there was, but it had, that sort of thing had never been set up before, and so I just didn't know.
I'm thinking in like toy soldiers when you start. Wherever you're at in the field, you know if people are getting your box because there's sounds going off. There's like a notification,
and then when the bosses come in, there's the big
3 different notifications letting you know that there's something going on. So that's the kind of thing too. I would hope that they would be notifying you somehow.
Yeah, I think they notify you when people actually are making it into your castle. It's just
you don't know.
I didn't realize that there was a boss in this level.
I got you. Okay,
that's the deal.
Okay,
but so like I said, mostly my fault.
But what isn't?
The last XBLA game I got to talk about this week is Rayman 3 HD from Ubisoft Shanghai, 800 Microsoft points. Don't have a hell of a lot to talk about for this one. So this is an HD import of Rayman 3. I don't even know what system that was for.
I don't either.
A Sega game?
Who knows?
I don't know.
That'll be on our next Sega podcast.
The Dreamcast. That's a title right there.
We're stealing that. I'm sure nobody else has.
That's right. Yeah.
The Sega Dreamcast.
There's no copyright infringement there whatsoever.
I'll bust out my 32X when we get home.
So Rayman 3 HD it came in that era where the platformer had switched to 3D, and so instead of side-scrolling, now you're moving around in a world, and thus all the difficulties of adjusting to 3D in the video game world started to emerge. I'm guessing this one came fairly early. It's kind of fun. It's got its little cheeky 90s humor and all that stuff. It's just the controls were kind of. I mean, it's obvious they didn't really update much past the graphics, and so. The controls are kind of herky-jerky, and it was very hard for me to kind of aim and move straight, and I don't have any nostalgia for the game.
Yeah. I mean, that doesn't help.
These ports are largely nostalgia games.
Correct.
I mean, there are probably a few people who have never played them originally and can discover them and all that.
I can't wait.
Yeah, exactly. But
or want achievements.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't even get to look at what the achievements were, I don't think. But anyway, it didn't overly impress me just because I've played all those games.
And there's a reason we've moved on.
And I've played a bunch of ones that were slightly better than that, like the Sly Cooper games and Ratchet and Clank and all those games I played on my PS2. I wasn't overly impressed by it. I wish they would have done something to kind of smooth out the controls, to be perfectly honest.
And my guess is too, if you don't have the nostalgia going for you, you're better off just going out and getting Rayman Origins.
Yeah,
and actually supporting that game, right? Which was a well done and well looking and good looking game.
Yeah, and that's a side scroller right there.
Yeah,
with that one. But anyway, I don't want to badmouth the game. It's not a bad game. It's just
it's dated.
It's very dated.
So while the look might be better now, the gameplay style is still the same.
And I never played the original, so I wasn't even really able to say, "Oh yeah, this does look better." It still looks kind of.
It's in HD, Craig. They put HD on it.
Yeah, but
if it has HD on it, it's better. It's high definition.
Yeah. Okay.
I got those sunglasses that let me see in HD now. I saw them on the shelf. HD glasses.
Yes.
You can see in HD.
You can see in high definition.
Literally, that makes no fucking sense.
I know.
I get so mad.
I think they're blue sunglasses. Is that right?
They're probably Blu-ray. Blu-ray HD sunglasses. You can now
get on that.
And it's just for old people who don't fucking know. They're like, well, I know my grandson talks about HD.
So you make them big enough that they can fit over regular giant glasses.
They're giant.
Good, excellent.
I think they go over already those big square ones.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're even bigger. They're like, it's basically a welder's mask that somebody has to wear.
Are you sure you hadn't wandered into a hardware store?
I might have been.
Everything was probably in a different language.
I didn't know what was going on. I think it was in Hungarian. All right, is that for XBLA?
That's it. That's it.
I can recap some Mass Effect 3.
I got some DLC first.
Oh, that's
actually,
right. You do. Go ahead.
Following our traditional format for the show.
Let's stick to tradition.
A little bit of Gunstringer here.
That's right.
The old DLC, Real Big Shootin', and then the new DLC, El Diablo's American Adventure. Real Big Shootin', I am so sorry. I bought this pretty much right after it came out, but I didn't touch it. And I'm so sorry that I didn't touch it because it's kind of a Duck Hunt style gallery shooter.
That's awesome.
So instead of running through levels or whatever, you're just kind of in one area, and then you have swarms of enemies coming through, and they do actually have ducks. that look like Duck Hunt ducks.
That's awesome.
And there's a bigger gag in there. I don't want to give it away, but
dogs in there. That's awesome.
But then different levels will have different things going on. So you might have twin guns in some levels. You might have the shotgun going on in some levels. Some levels they make you lefty flip, so you have to fire with your other hand.
Yeah.
It's not that bad actually. It's pretty straightforward. I mean,
I'm pretty dumb.
It's actually a lot easier than trying to do twin guns.
Yeah,
because I can't, man. I'm like, aim, do things. But it's a lot of fun. It keeps track of your high scores and compares them with other people as well. And I believe the money that you make in this DLC can also be used to spend in the extras gallery in the regular game as well. So
that's pretty
if
cool.
You're working for those achievements that are tied to those, you
have to get a ton of stuff unlocked.
I think you can do that. You get achievements just for playing the DLC.
That's awesome too. I should do that. I should finish the regular game.
You should.
I'm not proud of it, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you keep bringing it up.
Well, because
you want attention back on you.
I shame myself is what I'm trying to do.
And then El Diablo's American Adventure.
Yes.
This is the story of El Diablo, Satan, who wants to find a wife, so he's going to go marry that prostitute woman. I can't remember her name. You remember one of the bosses in the game?
I can't remember.
Did you not make it that far? I think that's like the first level. Come on, man.
I'm okay with shaming myself. You don't have to shame me. There's the difference there. I don't want you to shame me.
It's a fine line. Yeah, sorry. I'll step over it once in a while.
Once in a while. More like trip over it and fall on me.
He's going to go off. And so then it's kind of like a scrolling, like auto-moving Hogan's Alley. And so,
nice.
And so you're moving through this town because I haven't got past the first level. It's hard.
Is it?
It's very.
I've seen screenshots of it and it looks awesome. It looks tons different.
It's the shotgun,
and
the shotgun is kind of a pain to target because instead of locking on the things, you have to both hold it in the right spot and then lift your hand up to fire, and
without it moving your target,
without it jerking off.
Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa. Sorry about that.
I'm playing that today. Maybe I have played this
without jerking off. I think you've done it the other way.
I stand corrected. I played this game right before we did this show.
Without jerking your target off of the the intended target, especially because there's a bunch of innocents as well, and and there would be times where I'm like, I'm gonna blast this guy on the lower right hand side of the screen, and then I fire, and all of a sudden this dude on the upper right hand side of the screen just dies, and I'm like, okay, well, fuck that. And the real hard thing is that you have a lot of health, like maybe 15 health or something like that, but every time you miss a dude, then it knocks off a health. Or every time you shoot an innocent, it knocks off a health. That's why I can't make it past that first level.
Gotcha.
A lot of it's just me trying to aim, and I've tried lots of different lighting settings because sometimes lighting can fuck with your Kinect.
Yeah.
And I've tried balancing a lot of things. It's just really hard, and it's mostly because it's the shotgun. And the shotgun always was my least favorite weapon in Gunstringer.
Okay.
Because it's just really hard to be precise with that. And it's not 2-player. The other one, Real Big Shooting, you can play 2-player. I think it's competitive 2-player.
Okay.
Where you face off and compare scores or whatever.
Right.
But there's no 2-player in El Diablo, which would have been good. Two shotguns would have made it a lot easier to.
Or had a lot more dead innocents.
That too. Well, I think there's an achievement for shooting every kind of innocent or something.
Well, that's funny. But I like the style looks a little. A ton different.
Yeah.
Playing that different character too.
Yeah.
So
No, it's a great new marionette. He's got like pool table 8 balls for eyes.
He looked nuts.
And, he's pretty sweet.
I love the design a lot.
I liked that a lot. Yeah, it's just the shotgun.
What are you gonna do?
What you gonna do? I just need to get better at shooting. Apparently.
You know it.
You know it.
All right. So now that I stepped on you, are you done with DLC? Are we good? Do you want to talk about Azura's Wrath, or should I talk about Mass Effect?
Whichever.
I don't have a lot to say.
Whatever.
I finished Mass Effect 3.
Good job.
I made the push. It ended up being a lot longer than I thought it was going to be in the end.
Yeah.
I kind of sat down last night and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go through this. I knew it was kind of at the last battle or the last big pull there at the end. And it still took me like 2 or 3 hours, which I didn't have any idea was going to be the case.
Wow. I think the last push in Mass Effect 2 took a while too, didn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Because you went through like several stages.
Yeah, that's kind of how it plays out again here. And it does in the first one too, so I don't know what I was thinking. I was just like, I'll just do this. I'll knock this out quick. And then I'm like, well, I got to talk to all these people? I didn't have to, but I wanted to. Come on. I built relationships with
It's the Mass Effect equivalency to your collection urges.
Can I tell you what? Also, here's what I discovered, all right? Here's what I discovered. Mass Effect 3 is maybe the most accurate RPG interpretation of myself that I've ever played. And what I mean by that is because I don't know if I felt so emotionally involved in the games, but I always set out to like, all right, Shepard's going to be a total asshole to everybody. And then before I know it, I'm like, I feel the same way. You're very important to me. Like that
is not like you at all.
And
what are you talking about?
It is though. I try to be like all like a jerk ass, but I'm a nice guy.
That's true.
It's not true. Don't put that out there.
You're ruining your internet rep.
So exactly. So what happens is I end up being a dick to the authoritative people who are like, "You've got to do this," and I'm like, "Fuck you! I'll do what I want. I'm Commander Shepard." And then I get on my ship, and people are like crying about things, and I want to be like, "Buck up! We got to go do this shit." And what I am is like, I understand why you're hurt. Like, because I can't, when I'm faced with those decisions and my guy is going to say it to him, I feel bad. In Skyrim Oblivion, I think it's the disembodiment of your character as far as not having a voice.
Right.
And so when you choose the selection, that's kind of a dickish thing to say.
Right.
It doesn't have like a direct impact.
Right,
it's just them reacting to text that's on there.
I had that same feeling in Dragon Age 2. When I
Maybe,
played a little bit of that.
And maybe it's a BioWare thing, where it's the emotional attachment of like you're choosing it, and now you're going to watch that scene act out. Now, do you want to watch that scene act out of this total asshole berating this person who's mad because their parents died or their family's dead, or do you want to like support them? And so it's funny because I came into that realization of
you're all about the hugs.
I want to be a bad guy, but I can't. So I was only yelling at people who were trying to tell me what to do. But then all like my insubordinates and people that I'm helping out, I'm like the nicest guy ever. I want to be everybody's friend. I'm not just your boss. I'm the cool boss. I let everybody wear shorts.
Exactly.
I don't care. We're food day every day.
Then you go talk to your bosses and you're like, I'm Doug and I'm out of here.
Exactly. I'm out of here.
And then you slam the door.
Right. And then I go down and I'm like, we're having a fucking party, everybody. And they're like, we love you, Shepard. I'm like, goddamn right. I'm also
got a pizza in both hands.
And I'm going to be the DJ. And they're like, we'd have nobody else. And I'm like, goddamn right, because I'm Shepard. Anyway.
DJ Shepard now.
DJ Shepard. Anyway, so that was my own epiphany during like Mass Effect 3, where it finally dawned on me that I'm not as bad as I want to be, and I don't think I would be able to. Like, I think if I wanted to do a replay as a female Shep.
Oh, really?
I want to do a female Shep, and I want to kind of have her be just negative the whole way through.
Yeah.
And I still am negative sometimes, and I always do the renegade option when it pops up, because usually the people deserve it. Like, if it's a thing where you're going to get to punch somebody or like shoot them or something, they usually deserve to be told to shut up. But I think if I tried to go through, I would run into the same stumbling block. I don't think I'd be able to separate it.
Yeah, that's why I generally don't try to create a character the first time around. I just go through it with natural reactions, and then replays. Like, Fallout 3, I did that. My first one was just sort of the good guy.
Yeah, and see, that's what I'm saying. I think it was my natural reactions are wanting to. I want to be bad, but I can't.
It's that desire in you to see if I was really here.
Right?
How would this whole story have played out?
Well, also, I started acting like Shepard, so I thought I was the character. No, I had some dissociative order.
You're like trying to sex up aliens.
In real life?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Sometimes. Exactly. But I finished the game.
I'm going to report that to INS.
I have finally been able to go back and see all the controversy with all the ending bullshit and kind of look into it. I get where some people are coming from. Sure. For me, I was totally fine with the ending. It was... You can once you
got the right ending.
Once you have hindsight, once you see other people that are talking about what about this, and it would have made sense if they were doing this. I can see those points.
Sure.
But before I saw that, I wasn't unhappy with the ending. Like, I was content with what I got. It was, and for me about these 3 games, it's been an amazing journey the entire way.
Right.
So really, I don't know if the end point was always the most important thing for me anyway. Do you know what I mean?
No, yeah.
It's a getting there.
Right.
And all the stuff that took place in between there. And you still made lots of things happen and had lots of decisions along that way. So I don't know really what the end point means, but I do know this. there is, and I mean, not a spoiler, there's a cutscene at the end of the credits, and it's maybe the worst fucking voice acting ever.
Oh, really?
And look, they have somebody particular doing the voice, and I don't care. It's not lost on me why they had a person do it, because it's somebody doing, it's like, well, fucking spoiler, who cares at this point? It's Buzz Aldrin doing the like voice acting of one of the characters at the end.
Okay.
Great, I get it.
Yeah.
He's terrible. So sometimes the joke or the getting it isn't worth the like having it actually happen. It's terrible. And it completely like, why would you, a game that is 3 games spanning, that is like some of the best voice work ever in video game history. I would say that's without a question. And like the level of it's in there, why would you end with something that sounds so terrible? I wanted to murder myself.
You know, when you said Buzz Aldrin, it took me an entire half second to think Tim Allen.
Yes, it was Tim Allen.
Buzz Lightyear.
That would have been better. Buzz Lightyear at the end would have been better. I would have been all for that, all in. I enjoyed it. I was happy with the ending. I found that I actually thought that the time flew by. I spent more time playing 3 than I did 2.
Yeah.
And I felt like 2 was longer. So I don't know if that's good or bad. It ended up taking longer to play 3, but it didn't feel like it. So I guess that's good.
Well, maybe it's more mission based, because remember, they had all the mining things. Those were a little time consuming.
That's true
too. So
I don't know. It was the mission seemed a little longer this time around, and I think that just meant that I was enjoying them more and not feeling the fact that it was taking an hour and a half to get through this mission. So that was good. I played a lot more multiplayer because I got my readiness thing up to 100% by doing the multiplayer. Been having a blast in multiplayer. I think that it's one of the best games for me for multiplayer because you can jump in and play with anybody, not have to worry about headsets.
Yeah, and
it's the way that the levels are all not too big. They do a really good job of you see where everybody's at all the time with little, like they're all highlighted in blue, so you can see them through walls and know where everybody's at. The objectives are usually just clear the waves or go around and do these specific things that they point you to. And so there's really no communication needed. There's a really good notification system of when people are down and when you can go get them. And it's really one of those few co-op games where you don't have to talk to anybody. You kind of are all just naturally in the same mindset and know what's going on. Right. And so I love that.
That's cool.
I think that's great. Nice. And so I've been having a blast with that, buying more of those packs like a cracked fiend. And they've been doing lots of things on the weekends. I missed a couple of those when I was out on vacation.
The Operation Raptor is this weekend.
Yeah, so now they've got it where you have to promote. And what that is you level up to 20, and then you promote them, which is like a prestige kind of thing in Call of Duty, where you go back down to level 1 for that class, and then it adds like 10 to your end score, which is your overall like multiplayer score that you have that you build up. It really means nothing, I don't think. But I think there's a bonus this weekend if you do 2 characters. If you promote 2 characters, you get like a bonus pack.
Wow.
Which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
I think. I don't know what's in it exactly, but I like that they do that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So I've got one of them ready to go, and I'm going to probably do try and get the other one up there.
Sweet.
Because I think it's fun. It's just a lot of fun for me to kick in there and play. And I know a lot of people have bagged on it that it's... I think it'd be more fun if I was playing with people I knew. For sure.
Yeah.
But I'm having a blast playing with people I don't know.
Right.
Because I don't have to have the headset on. A lot of people I play with didn't.
Yeah.
So you just run around and you're all working together, and I just had a lot of fun with it.
Nice.
So I don't know how long that'll continue after I'm kind of done with them, like Mass Effect 3. Like I don't know. I don't see myself probably playing that multiplayer for an extended period of time.
It's not
once I'm out of the game.
It's not Red Faction.
I don't think so. I think that I think that maybe it'll be down after a while, but I'm gonna still go with it for a little bit, just because of that stuff. But and I want to eventually. We all know how this is going to work out, but I want to restart Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 and play as a female and run through that.
I'm actually dreading it more if you succeed, because that's going to be like the next half year of shows for us.
I'm sorry, everybody. Oh, better move over to those PS3 shows. All right, so that's probably it for my Mass Effect 3 until we can all talk about it more in depth.
Okay. Sounds good. I finished up Asura's Wrath, finished the hell out of it. 6 playthroughs, and I'm still not tired of it.
I also played Mass Effect 3 6 times.
Sure you did. Looking forward to these new DLC episodes coming out. First one came out this past week already. Haven't had a chance to play it, but I'm looking forward to it. I was really hoping Sean would be on here so I could bounce ideas off of him, but
jerk.
That's not what I meant.
That's what you said. That's what I heard.
I don't think nothing really changed from the last discussion I had for it. It gets pretty epic towards the end, and boss battles become much larger scale, and things are fucking insane, basically. And there's a weird thing with the ending as well. I don't know.
Weird bad?
I don't know. I'm undecided about it.
I think there's a lot of weird things.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible. No, it's not bad. It's just kind of like, that's what you want to do? Okay.
Is it all a dream?
No, it's not all a dream.
Of a squirrel?
No. Yes.
That'd be an awesome ending.
Actually, acorn in the squirrel's belly.
There's a dream of an acorn?
Yeah, the acorn's dreaming.
Or is this all happening in the acorn that's in the squirrel's stomach? It's like a little mini universe?
Exactly.
That is weird.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
And then it zooms out, and then that universe is in a pea pod.
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. I wish Sean was here too. So I wouldn't have to ramble on like this. I wouldn't even be involved in this conversation.
But it's pretty spectacular, totally over the top. Again, if you're not really into Japanese animated TV shows, this is better than the slower ones. I mean, this is like a top quality Japanese animated TV show.
Here's the thing, I'm not into those kind of shows, but I'm into crazy shit.
It's definitely got,
I think
the crazy shit coming out of its ears.
That's what's going to hook me, is the fact that it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely got the crazy shit. Dudes is bigger than the planet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Swords piercing through the planet, coming out the other side.
I can't wait.
All that stuff. It's pretty fucking sweet.
I'd like to borrow it from you.
Okay, we'll do. We have to get it from Sean first.
Again, with that guy.
The only other game that I got a chance to play is Sean's copy of Bulletstorm. Actually, he loaned that to me months ago, and I finally got around to playing it. Did I mention it on the show, or is that off show where I mentioned I turned off the foul language?
I think that was on here.
I think it was on show. Okay.
Who knows anymore?
I turned it off just because I didn't want that to be a factor in the gameplay whatsoever. I love the world. I love a lot of the areas and the situations that they put you in. I think that's spectacular. I just love looking around at things, and that's all really cool. The gameplay is I still have the fun that I had when I played the demo with the skill shots and all that.
Yeah.
It does wear down a little bit just because it's kind of like Wet. Remember, although I ended up loving Wet when I played the full game, but because remember I was kind of complaining that it's kind of like you have to have the same start off every time.
Yeah.
And this is kind of similar because you're always going to have to kick somebody or slide into somebody, or, you're going to have to, if you want a decent skill shot, if you want to actually earn some points, which, you need to do if you want to keep stocked in ammo,
right?
Then you're going to have to follow some patterns. And so there's a point at which it reaches diminishing returns in terms of creativity compared to routine. And so now they do change that by, continually unlocking new skill shots for you as the game progresses,
right.
And as you do things, then more skill shots unlock. I think you can get some of those skill shots even before they're unlocked, but it describes them for you, so you know exactly what you need to do. Right. Some of them are pretty complicated and tricky.
Yes.
But yeah, and so I'm kind of torn about that. Like I said, I have fun with discovering new things and pulling off a really awesome combination. Another problem is that I've only played the single player campaign.
I was just gonna say,
and I think that's the skill shot stuff would be a lot more fun when you have other folks with you and you're all trying to pull off crazy shit and you get in each other's way, and even crazier shit is the result. And so,
yeah, I was gonna say, while you have it, you should put a call out. On the forums or something.
I will.
Because I hope you get to do some multiplayer with it, because I think you'd have a blast.
Yeah.
I think you'll like that.
I think that's
a lot.
I think that's where a lot of the fun is going to be, definitely.
There's crazy shit going on when you get multiplayer.
I'm surprised that they didn't put in a co-op, though, considering that you always have somebody with you.
I know.
As you're going through.
I don't get it either.
Yeah.
I don't know what the reasoning was.
And really, the point of those folks is just to have somebody to bounce dialogue off of and then follow when you're trying to go through. Although
more dick jokes.
Half the fuck the time. Well, I don't get those because I turn those off. I'm playing anti-dick.
Like always.
Yes, exactly. Fear the dick. Although I was gonna say, you fucking turn around and then you come back around and they're gone, and I'm like, oh great, where did they fucking go? And half the time it's even like they ran past me and I didn't see them, and I'm like, and it takes me like a half a minute to figure out which direction I need to go, even though they're supposed to be helping.
Because I'm trying to think back of when we talked about the game, and I can't even remember if I had AI problems. Or something. How is the AI?
They don't do anything really. I mean, they kill dudes occasionally, but
I'm trying to remember if that
more often they knock people down. I don't know.
I was trying to remember if that was a game where I was like, I don't even understand why they're there because they're not doing anything for me.
Yeah, that's largely right. They do finish off a couple folks, and one of the nice things is, especially if they're close by you, they can punch down enemies. So, if someone's coming up from behind, they can protect you in that way. But they don't do a whole heck of a lot. Yeah. So. But the good news, I think part of the reason is so that they don't screw up your skill shots.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that's what we talked about too on the show. Oh, yeah. Maybe if I remember, is that they really can't have them do anything because you have to be in control of killing every person.
Otherwise, you're doing all these setups and then they pick them off, and you're like, it's like, God damn it,
playing multiplayer. And maybe that's why co-op wouldn't work either. Because maybe, but then multiplayer does.
Co-op would be fine.
You would just be talking to each other and be like,
it would be a waste if the AI did it, because then nobody gets points.
Right.
But
you can't tell him to stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, what are you doing? I threw that guy up in the air. Thanks for shooting him.
But those dudes on that planet have thick fucking skulls. They take I'm playing on normal, and they take a lot of bullets to the head.
Yeah.
Holy cow. I also switched the crouching to toggle instead of doing the hold down.
Yeah, I think I did too.
Especially because it's on the left stick, and so I kept sliding to the side, and I'm like, I can't do this. Then I'm like, oh wait, there's a toggle option. Okay, let's do that. But yeah, I don't know. It's not bad. I'm actually enjoying quite a bit of it. It's not blowing me away in any sort of way.
You should really turn the language thing back on.
You think that's what I'm missing?
No, I think that I think that ambiance is important to your experience in the game.
I see.
Like, I think that
you're like, you're not hating this enough. I want you to turn that on.
It's not so much of that, but I think you need to experience it in its natural. It's a part of that. In its natural form, to fully get what they were going for. Yes. And then you can go, really?
Well, did you hear? I mean, because it's People Can Fly is foreign developer or whatever, and so
Hungarian, I heard.
Possible. It's actually quite possible.
I'm trying to make up for my
you're failing. You're making it worse. But they came out with a statement like a while after the game came out, or somebody asked them in an interview or whatever about the swearing in the game, and they're like, yeah, in retrospect we kind of overblew that, and part of that was because it's not our native language, and so you can't really get a good feel for when you've gone too far for that sort of stuff.
Hint, scare the dick off you is too far. Just so you know, for future reference.
Yeah, so
they don't listen to this.
No, I'm probably not going to turn it back on.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think you should, but we're all welcome to our opinions.
Exactly. Me especially.
As wrong as they may be.
But I'm nearing the end, and so I don't know. I think I might even play through again on a harder difficulty or something. I'll at least go back to some of the levels and try to get some of those.
If you're at I'm gonna make one more plea. If you're at the end, if you're getting close to the end, you need to turn that on because it's ridiculous shit at the end. Language wise.
How about I just watch it on YouTube?
You could do that too. But you should experience it while you're playing it. And you can go, really? Really? Anyway. That last part was terrible. Audio wise. It really should be experienced.
But I love the large scale aspects of the game, especially when it goes epic. Yeah, fantastic,
epic. Like when you're on that train thing and that big worm thing, or whatever it is.
The wheel, the grinder,
the wheel. That's it.
Yeah, I thought the part where you're controlling the robot monster went a little too long.
Yeah,
it was maybe. I'm like, okay, can I move out of this area, please? I'm kind of sick of this.
I'm done.
Especially because I can't really defend myself very well.
I am done.
So, yeah.
All right.
That's still awesome.
I checked out some Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. Speaking of
on a high note.
Speaking of people that can take thousands of bullets to the head, or sometimes two, it's a very uneven game.
Yeah.
This is a largely co-op multiplayer experience. You can play it singly, but I don't see how that would be any fun. for the most part.
So it's more of a run and gun shooter now, right?
It is, and it takes place. The background of the game or the setting is you're basically behind the scenes during Resident Evil 2 and 3. And you're working for an ops team that's running in and basically trying to clean up everything from Umbrella and make them not seem... Basically, you're going through with a towel and wiping off all their fingerprints.
Got it.
That'd be a more fun game, probably, than what you get. You're trying to go through and clean up the area so that Umbrella doesn't leave anything left behind and look to be responsible for the outbreaks and everything else. It plays as a co-op.
Dropping little Halliburton pamphlets around.
Exactly. Blaming other people. It plays. It's basically a co-op shooter where you're on a team of 4, and you choose.
Also called squad sometimes.
Yes, it's a squad of 4. You choose one character, and there's multiple characters you can play, which are different classes.
Yeah.
The problem is that I ran into, and this is my.
That there's an awesome character in comparison to others?
No, everybody looks the same. Like, I understand they have different abilities and they do look a little different. The game is so dark. Like, it's really black, and everything just looks dark.
Don't be racist.
I know. I'm not setting a good example for myself this whole episode. Everything is so black, and like everybody's just in a dark setting. They're all in dark colored clothes. They don't look that different as far as outside of size wise and abilities. So you're just running through and shooting, and it's kind of clunky. It's an automatic cover system. So you just walk up on things and take cover. That is kind of problematic at times because you get stuck on things and you're trying to move, you would think. So give me a button to let me have that happen, you know?
Capcom did that. Remember that demo that they had where you were in that weird castle and there was like a partner system. You could like throw the lady at like enemies, and it had a terrible cover system too. Was that a Capcom game? You know?
Yeah. We talked about it on the show because I played it for like 10 minutes, and I was like, "This is terrible." Yeah.
Was that Capcom as well?
I don't think it was Capcom.
Oh, okay.
Damn it, I can't remember what it is.
Was it like
last year? It came out last year.
Yeah, something like that. Was that
because that one was an auto cover thing too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I can barely remember.
But then they could always shoot your cover.
Well, that's a problem. So you get flooded with characters, and I didn't feel the AI was too bad. The problem was the AI was inconsistent, it seemed like, where sometimes my teammates would help me, sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes they'd be standing in a different area. They'd go into like this area that didn't have anything.
Snack bar.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, we're not even supposed to be over here. So sometimes in those games where you have AI with you, I kind of use them to tell me where I'm supposed to go. So I kind of follow them, or
definitely.
You know, and so when they're like following you or over in this corner and doing nothing, and I'm like, what are we doing here? This isn't where we're supposed to be. So and then like the enemy AI, sometimes they would take cover, sometimes they would just run around. I would notice that sometimes I would do like 2 headshots and the guy would die. Sometimes I would shoot him in the head like 8 times and they would still be jumping around, and it's the same type of enemy. It's not like it's a different enemy that's like more armored. It just seemed really inconsistent. And so the controls just weren't 100%. I don't like that cover system. It makes it inconvenient to like, it's not like you could pop out a cover and shoot. You almost had to pop out a cover to shoot, but then you would have to like move again to like get back into cover. You know, because it completely popped you out.
It popped you off.
Exactly. So it was inconvenient.
Get the lingo right.
Sorry. And now I'm up on it. Pop.
It'll jack you off with that cover.
I wish. That would have been awesome. So it's just dark. I like the idea. And here's my problem, is that the idea is really intriguing to me. I like the idea that, you know, take the lore that you have from Resident Evil 2 and 3, run a campaign in the background of that, and kind of play off those elements. And so it sounds cool in, like, explanation, but in execution, it kind of just fell flat for me. And maybe if I was playing with multiple people and playing with other people, it would be more fun. But none of that stuff would change. It would still be terrible control, and it would still be really dark looking. Like, everything I played in it looked like it was in the middle of the night and everybody's in black outfits. So it's just... everything kind of blended in together, you know? So it kind of left me...
the one Capcom game where you can't change outfits.
Exactly.
Can't put on a neon...
Can't you teach anything?
Cowboy
learn
hat.
anything from Street Fighter? Let's get these guys in different outfits. Showing up a little bit. So, you know, like I said, idea-wise, I really liked it. I was intrigued by it, but it just did not pay off for me at all. So, and I would have even preferred to have a co-op or a multiplayer option, but still had a single player like run through, instead of having to do the squad, and that maybe would have been more.
I see.
Like if they would have could have done it even Resident Evil style, where it's a shooter, but you're not shooting like the reanimated zombie things, but you're shooting, it's in that style, but you're shooting actual other agents. Did you
ever play that one Resident Evil where it basically was a first-person shooter, but it was a little more on rails? I can't remember the name of it, but
I don't know either.
I don't know. It was really bad. There were giant spiders, though.
There's giant spiders in all of them.
That's right.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, but there were a lot of giant spiders.
Okay.
And I remember there was somebody visiting me that day when I was playing it, and they got really creeped out by the giant spiders. I kept
because everybody does.
Not me. No.
And you played 4? 5? You didn't play 5?
I didn't finish 4. I didn't play 5.
Did you like 4? I love 4.
It was okay. It was, the controls were kind of meh.
Yeah.
It was stiff. I don't know. The problem is I came to 4 like 3 years after it came out or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So, You
didn't play on the GameCube?
I did play it on the GameCube.
Okay.
I just didn't have a GameCube until well after the GameCube was pretty much retired.
Gotcha.
I think the Wii had already come out by the time I got a GameCube.
And you're like, I'm going to get that GameCube.
That's right.
Because it's not made anymore. And I'm a hipster. I like it because it's like, you can't even get it.
I actually wear it on a chain around my neck.
I had mine made into a ring. It's pretty fucking sweet.
It's a lunchbox, actually.
That would be lunchbox?
That would be kind of cool.
That is, I can't even imagine. It would be cool.
But you'd tiny hole.
A fucking hipster douche. Like if you carve out like the insides of a GameCube and made it a lunchbox.
I want a listener to do this now.
Holy shit, that's amazing.
To make a GameCube lunchbox.
I love that idea.
And post a picture on our forums for us. Because it's awesome.
Wow. That is amazing.
We're not even talking about Resident Evil anymore.
No, we're not. Who cares?
About GameCube lunchboxes.
That is a better idea than this game. So anyway, it's not for me at all. I was wanting it to be. It's not. I like the idea, the concept, but the execution is not what I wanted. So that's it for me. I wanted to get to Silent Hill. Because I was trying to live, but I couldn't get a hold of it. So hopefully next episode I'll have that. So.
I see.
But that's it for me.
Will that scare your dick off?
Probably. They had the Silent Hill HD collection just came out too for the 360, and that's. I've
never really gotten into the Silent Hill games. I don't know why.
I like them.
They seem like they would be right up my alley.
They scare the shit out of me. Yeah. Like 2, I had terrible nightmares about 2. Like it wrecked me for like days. Yeah, like every third day. I don't understand it. Pyramid Head shows up. But the HD collection entices me, like going back and playing those, and now getting achievements. Like that sounds awesome.
You're like, I know how to master this game.
That sounds great.
I can skill these achievements.
So I might like to check that out too, but I'd have to buy it. So I might do that. We'll see. Who knows? I know. I'll buy it and won't play it. That's how it works out. That's how that one ends.
Exactly.
Spoiler.
How's that Dead Rising 2 going for you?
All right. So is that it? We done?
Yeah, we're done.
Signedinpodcast.com. That is our website. You can find links to our Twitter, our Facebook, all of our older episodes. Link to our forums. We'd love to hear from you on there. All the other Pseudo Radio shows, which would be 3 Die Block and The Pull List.
That's correct.
Which still stars Sean.
Yes, that's right.
He's still doing that one at this time, right?
Yes, he's guest appearing on 3 Die Block too.
Is he?
No.
Wow.
Just the way that you said that made it sound
like
a
jerk. Happy 3rd anniversary, Sean. You can email us at comments@signedinpodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you over there. And if you find us on iTunes, please leave a review, or at least click on a star rating. We would greatly appreciate it. We do beg anyway. Even if you do it, leave a review. We're still going to beg in the future because there's others that don't.
Yeah. So if that's your motivation to make us stop begging, sorry.
Although if
we shouldn't be revealing this.
No, folks. I know. We shouldn't have told them that. Damn it. Now they're not going to do it. Next episode, like I mentioned before, the Silent Hill Downpour game, I would like to check that out.
Yeah.
And who knows, that HD collection, maybe that'll show up. Maybe not. I just took advantage of that Majin, the Forsaken, whatever it is.
Yeah. On the Amazon sale.
Amazon had some ridiculous sales. I left it. I carded it in my Amazon cart while I was over in Belgium, and it was $7.
Yeah, it was ridiculously low.
I finally bought it last night and it had gone down to $6.23. Oof. So $6 I got that game.
Yeah, that game got largely ignored, and I really liked the demo. I always wanted to play it,
and I wanted to check it out too. So $6 sounds right.
That sounds. So it's about a rental price, right?
So just under that, or just a little bit over. So it's probably worth it to own it for that.
Exactly.
So we'll have that maybe next time, since we never talked about it on the show.
Awesome.
Go a little old school.
Awesome.
But it didn't get a lot of attention, so it deserves it.
we never talk about games that
never do.
At least a year old.
Bulletstorm. So that's it for us. We will not be going to a PS3 format. Sorry for that. But I hope that everybody had a good time.
We will or we will not?
That's up to you guys to decide.
Rewind.
We'll see.
We'll see. Rewind.
And hopefully Sean will be with us next episode.
Yeah, he should be.
Returning back. Day number 1 starts again. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.